Pisces, before you scroll past this, stop. Right now, the sky is closing a chapter. It opened 18 months ago, and you have less than 24 hours left inside it. 3 mistakes could cost you everything this window is offering. Stay with me. Your soul already knew why you clicked on this video. Let's talk about what's actually happening above you, Pisces, because July 25th, 2026 is not an ordinary Saturday. This is the second to last full day of a story that began on January 11th, 2025, the day the nodes of fate made their crossing into Pisces and Virgo and quietly rewrote the terms of your soul contract. For 18 months, the universe has been pulling you, gently but insistently, toward healing, toward surrender, toward trusting what you feel over what you can prove. Tomorrow, on July 26th, that chapter closes. The nodes of fate move out of your sign for good, shifting into Aquarius and Leo, and they will not return to Pisces and Virgo again for roughly 18 years. That alone would make this a significant weekend. But the sky did not stop there. 2 days ago, on July 23rd, Mercury finally stationed direct after 3.5 weeks of retrograde chaos in Cancer, the sign of home, memory, and the feelings you thought you had buried. If your family group chat has felt like a minefield, if old wounds resurfaced out of nowhere, if you found yourself crying over something from years ago with no warning at all, that was not random. That was Mercury dragging your unresolved emotional business into the light so you could finally look at it. It is direct now, but it is still moving through its shadow phase, still settling, and what you do with the truth it surfaced in these next few days will decide whether you integrate it or bury it all over again. There's a detail most videos will skip, Pisces: Neptune, the planet that has ruled and lived inside your sign for the last 14 years, packed up for good back in January. It lives in Aries now, and right now it is even retrograde there, quietly double-checking its own new dream. The soft, dreamy fog you used to hide inside is thinner than it has been in over a decade. And just 5 days ago, on July 20th, Jupiter in confident, radiant Leo locked into a rare opposition with Pluto in Aquarius. A collective reckoning between personal power and outside expectation that comes only once every 12 to 13 years. That energy has not faded. It is still humming underneath everything, asking one uncomfortable question. Are you going to keep shrinking to fit inside what other people expect of you, Pisces, or are you finally going to take up the space your soul has been asking for? Above all of that, tonight's moon is waxing gibbous, more than 80% illuminated, sitting in blunt, truth-telling Sagittarius, building toward the full buck moon on July 29th. Think of it as the universe slowly turning up the volume. Whatever has been quietly growing inside you for the last 18 months is about to become impossible to ignore. This is why July 25th matters. Not because of superstition, because of timing. 4 major energy shifts are converging in the same 72 hours, and how you respond decides which version of yourself walks into August. The one who finally claimed her power, or the one still waiting for permission. Chosen ones, there are 3 specific mistakes tempting you right now. Let's name them, one at a time, because once you see them clearly, you cannot unsee them. Mistake 1. Letting the window close in silence. The first fatal mistake is the quietest one, which is exactly what makes it so dangerous: doing nothing and calling it patience. For 18 months, the North Node in your sign has been asking you to trust your intuition over your analysis, to feel your way through decisions instead of spreadsheeting them into the ground. And for 18 months, the South Node in Virgo has been whispering its old familiar lie, the one that says you are not ready yet, that you need one more sign, one more piece of evidence, one more round of "let me think about it," before you allow yourself to actually live the transformation you have been quietly working toward. Tomorrow, that South Node excuse loses its power. The nodes of fate move on. And if you spend today the way Virgo's shadow wants you to, overthinking, over-preparing, waiting for a certainty that was never going to arrive, you will close out this entire 18-month soul contract exactly where you started it. Not because the universe failed you, because you never opened the door it was holding for you. Here is what this looks like in real life. It looks like the boundary you have rehearsed in your head 40 times but never said out loud. It looks like the creative project, the move, the relationship conversation, the version of yourself you have been getting ready to become since January of last year, still sitting in the drafts folder of your life. It looks like the apology you owe yourself for staying in something you outgrew, or the art, the voice, the calling you keep polishing in private because not quite ready yet, feels safer than being seen and possibly misunderstood. Ascension symptoms, the fatigue, the vivid dreams, the sudden waves of emotion that seem to come from nowhere, have likely been intensifying for you this week. That is not a coincidence. That is your soul trying to get your attention before the crossing shuts. So today, before this day ends, do one thing. Close the chapter on purpose. Take 5 quiet minutes, light a candle if that helps you focus, and write down everything you have healed, released or understood about yourself since January 2025. Not what you wish you had done, what actually shifted. Then write one sentence about the version of yourself you are choosing to become as the nodes of fate move into Aquarius, a sign that rewards originality, independent thought, and the courage to be different from the group. This is not about performing a ritual for the algorithm of the universe. It is about consciously ending something instead of letting it fade out unfinished. Synchronicities tend to cluster around moments like this. Pay attention to repeating numbers, unexpected songs, a stranger saying the exact sentence you needed to hear. That is divine timing, confirming you closed the loop correctly. Chosen ones, do not let this window close in silence. Say something, even if it is only to yourself. Mistake 2, burying what Mercury just uncovered. The second fatal mistake is more painful because it disguises itself as relief. Mercury retrograde in Cancer just spent 3.5 weeks pulling old emotional truths to the surface. A resentment you have not named, a family pattern you keep repeating, a relationship where you have been performing peace instead of feeling it. Now that Mercury has turned direct, there is an enormous temptation to exhale, tell yourself the storm has passed, and quietly stuff everything that surfaced back down where it came from. That relief is the trap. Mercury is direct, but it is still moving through its shadow phase until early August, which means you are standing in a delicate in-between window. This is the moment where the pattern either finally breaks or it quietly reforms exactly the way it was, just better hidden this time. Pisces, your particular gift and your particular wound are the same thing. You can feel everyone else's pain like it is your own, which makes you exceptionally good at smoothing things over, so nobody else has to sit in discomfort. But smoothing it over is not healing it. It is just moving the ache somewhere you cannot see it as easily. Ask yourself honestly, what did Mercury retrograde reveal to you these last few weeks that you have already started explaining away? Was it a conversation you know you need to have but keep rescheduling in your head? Was it proof that a soul contract with someone has quietly expired, even though neither of you has said so out loud? Was it a truth about your own habits, the escapism, the over-promising, the swimming away from conflict instead of through it? Remember, the dreamy fog Neptune used to let you hide inside is thinner this year than it has been in a decade. That makes avoidance harder to sustain, which is uncomfortable, but it is also exactly why this clarity is finally getting through to you. You do not need to fix all of it today. You do not need a dramatic confrontation or a perfectly worded speech. What you need is smaller and harder. Name the truth, at least to yourself in plain language, without softening it into something more comfortable. Write the sentence you have been avoiding. Say it out loud once, alone in your car or your room, and notice how your body responds. Maybe your shoulders drop for the first time in weeks. Maybe your throat tightens right before the words come out. Both are information. Both mean you found the real sentence instead of the polished one you have been rehearsing to keep the peace. Light codes of clarity tend to arrive exactly like this. Not as a lightning bolt, but as a quiet, undeniable sentence that will not stop repeating in your mind. If a conversation genuinely needs to happen with another person, you do not have to have it today. But you do have to stop lying to yourself about needing to have it. That distinction is everything. Chosen ones, do not let the relief of Mercury going direct trick you into reburying the very truth it worked 3.5 weeks to hand you. Mistake 3, handing your power to someone else. The third fatal mistake is the one that will hurt the most in hindsight, because in the moment, it will feel like humility. Jupiter in Leo just locked into opposition with Pluto in Aquarius, an expansion of personal confidence colliding directly with the pressure of what the group, the family, the followers, the algorithm expects of you. This aspect only happens once every 12 to 13 years, and its entire message is this: something in you is ready to expand, and something outside of you is going to test whether you actually believe that, or whether you will shrink the second someone raises an eyebrow. Pisces, this is where you are most vulnerable, because your superpower, the ability to dissolve your boundaries and merge with whatever is around you, becomes a liability the instant someone else's opinion feels louder than your own knowing. The mistake is not loud or dramatic. It sounds like, maybe they're right, I probably am overreacting. It sounds like waiting for someone else to confirm your worth before you let yourself feel it. It sounds like handing the final vote on your own life to a person who is not even losing sleep over the decision the way you are. Maybe it is the creative work you have been sitting on because one offhand comment from a family member made you doubt it. Maybe it is the raise or the recognition you deserve at work that you keep deciding not to ask for because someone else might think you are being too much. Maybe it is a relationship where you already know your own answer, but you are waiting for a friend, a parent, or a comment section to approve it first. Notice the pattern. The vote was never actually theirs to cast. Here is the truth this transit is handing you. You are not brought to this exact moment with these exact energy shifts converging around you to keep asking for permission. Jupiter expanding through confident, radiant Leo is not asking you to be loud for the sake of being loud. It is asking you to stop apologizing for taking up the space your soul contract always intended for you to occupy. So today, claim one thing, out loud or on paper, without a disclaimer attached. Not, I think maybe, not, this could be wrong, but just the plain, unhedged truth of what you want, what you are proud of, or what you are no longer willing to accept. Angel numbers may show up around this decision as confirmation: 707, 1111, 444, small nudges that you are not imagining this, that this really is divine timing at work. Notice them, let them count. You do not owe anyone an explanation for finally believing yourself. Chosen ones, the throne, Jupiter and Pluto are pointing you toward has been empty this whole time, waiting for you to stop looking around the room to see if it is really allowed. It is allowed. It was always allowed. Claim it before this window closes. What to do with the next 72 hours? Here is how these 4 energy shifts fit together, Pisces, because none of them are isolated. They are one unified message arriving through 4 different messengers. The nodes of fate are closing the Pisces chapter that taught you to trust your intuition. Mercury just handed you the specific truth that chapter was always circling around. Jupiter and Pluto are asking whether you will actually claim the power that truth requires. And the moon, waxing gibbous tonight, more than 80% lit, sitting in bold, unfiltered Sagittarius, is building toward the full buck moon on July 29th, which lands just 3 days after the nodes shift into Aquarius. That full moon is not a random detail. It is the opening ceremony of your next 18-month chapter, and how you show up for it depends entirely on what you do right now in these next 72 hours. So here is your assignment, and it is simple on purpose because complicated rituals are just another version of the overthinking you are trying to release. Tonight, write 3 lists. First, what you healed since January 2025, the chapter you are closing. Second, the one truth Mercury retrograde surfaced that you are no longer willing to bury. Third, the one thing you are claiming without a disclaimer, the decision or belief or boundary you are done asking permission for. Read all 3 out loud, even in a whisper. Keep the page somewhere you will actually see it again. The front of a journal, a note pinned to your phone, not a scrap that disappears into a drawer. Come back to it on July 29th, when the full buck moon in Aquarius peaks, and read it once more. And if today has felt like a lot, that is not weakness. 4 planetary stories closing and opening in the same weekend would be a lot for anyone to hold. Be gentle with yourself while you do this. This is not superstition, Pisces. It is you consciously signing your name to your own soul contract instead of leaving it blank for someone else to fill in. Watch for ascension symptoms over the next few days. Vivid dreams, sudden clarity, a wave of emotion that arrives and then lifts. These are signs your energy field is recalibrating to hold the version of you that is emerging. Watch for synchronicities too, repeating numbers, a song lyric that answers a question you did not ask out loud, a stranger's comment that lands like it was aimed directly at you. Divine timing tends to get louder right before a threshold closes, almost as if the universe wants to make absolutely sure you did not miss it. You were not shown this video by accident. Something in you already knew this weekend mattered before a single word was said about the nodes of fate, Mercury, Jupiter, or the moon. That knowing is not superstition. That is the exact intuitive gift this entire 18-month chapter was designed to strengthen in you. Trust it now when it matters most. So let's bring this all the way home, Pisces. Mistake 1, letting this window close in silence instead of consciously ending your chapter. Mistake 2, burying the truth Mercury retrograde just handed you the moment it got uncomfortable. Mistake 3, handing your power to anyone else's opinion instead of claiming it yourself. Avoid these 3 and you walk into the new Nodes of Fate chapter already ahead of where you started. If this video named something you have been feeling but couldn't put words to, that is not a coincidence. That is confirmation. Type the words "I claim my power" in the comments right now so you can look back and remember the exact moment you decided to stop waiting. I read every single one of them, and Pisces, I want to see you claim this. Like this video so the algorithm shows it to another Pisces who needs to hear it tonight. Subscribe and turn on notifications because the full buck moon in Aquarius is landing in just 4 days, opening a chapter none of us have lived through before. I will be breaking down exactly what it means for you. Until then, chosen one, the window is closing, but you are not too late. You are never too late. Claim your power. I will see you in the next video.